Historical Society on BCTV is supported in part by the Highlands at Wyomissing.
Hello and welcome to the monthly program of the Historical Society of Berks County. I'm your host, George M. Miser IX, President Emeritus of the Historical Society of Berks County, and as of August 18th, a member of 52 years. It should be noted that this program is telecast live on the first Wednesday of each month at 7. It repeats Friday at 10, Saturday at 6, and Sunday morning at 9. This program can also be viewed on BCTV's website and the website of the Historical Society of Berks County. Welcome all to our September 2011 program. Seated to my left is Joshua Blay, Curator and Associate Director of the Historical Society.
Hello, George.
Beside him is Sime Bertlet, Executive Director of the Historical Society.
Good evening, George.
And beside him is Fred Levering, President of the Wyomissing Borough Council and a lifelong resident of Wyomissing. That is correct, isn't it, Fred?
Yes, it is. Good evening.
Good evening.
The Historical Society's Berks County Museum, Library, Museum Store, and Museum Exhibition Hall are open Tuesday through Saturday 9 to 4. Our museum store has a large inventory of Reading and Berks County histories, both new and pre-owned, and our museum store has a wide variety of pottery, artwork, and craft items by many known local artisans and potters. Stay tuned. We have some specials to tell you about as part of our monthly specials program.
We remind viewers that for $40 you could be one of us, a member of the Historical Society of Berks County. Membership in the society includes our prize-winning quarterly magazine, A Historical Review of Berks County. Membership includes unlimited use of the museum and library. Incidentally, family memberships, all people living in the same house, are $50 a year.
And actually, George, while we're on the subject of memberships, we remind you, those at home, that BCTV, Berks Community Television, is a survivor and a tough venue and a unique entity in that it's interactive. You are encouraged to call in with your questions and comments to 610-378-0426.
Why not salute BCTV for all the great shows it provides to Reading and Berks and send a check for $35 for a year's membership. Mail your check to BCTV, 645 Penn Street, Reading, 19601. Remember, time passes, but operating expenses never go away.
And if you haven't checked out BCTV's recently redesigned website that features current local news and articles of substance, check it out at www.bctv.org, and you can also sign up for an email news release. They're issued very frequently and very timely. Actually, I just saw one today on the heavy rains and the street closures.
I saw the same thing.
So make sure you check out their website and sign up for their email list.
It's really worthwhile. It really is. Well, let's see some sneak previews of pictures that were prepared for inclusion in the Society's upcoming publication, The Passing Scene, Volume 19. Scheduled for distribution this coming November. Mr. Berta, did you have something to say?
About the television screen. Do you want to get to that now, George? You want to do just do some photographs of the past?
Okay. Okay. If we can start the first one off. By the way, this volume 19 of The Passing Scene that will be coming out in mid-November will have more photographs in it than any of the previous issues. In some cases, we have a major vintage picture and 2 insets. People do like the insets because it gives them a point of reference. Many times people look at an old picture and they'll say it's nice, but where was it? What's there today? If it's still standing, what is it now used for? So that's the whole idea of the insets, to give you a now and then perspective on the old pictures. By the way, on our poster, that will be appearing at a number of venues, and it will also be in some ads. You see 3 very interesting pictures. One is Helen Trix, there on the left-hand side, who was a very accomplished vocalist. At the age of 17, became a vaudeville star and a major star. The incredible thing is that this person, who lived very near Wilmersdorf, recorded for 5 major recording companies in 1906. That's incredible. That really is. She went on to a major vaudeville career. She was very popular in England and in Australia. Most of the records that I have bought of her, I bought from Australia, which is remarkable also for the fact that every record you buy costs you like $21 postage. But anyhow, she was very popular in Australia.
Where does the needle go?
What's that?
Does it go in or go out?
Well, sort of.
Clockwise or counterclockwise?
Oh, I just got to, okay. Let me see.
Bad joke.
Yeah, she was, no, that was a rather good one, now. She was a very big vaudeville hit. As a matter of fact, when she was quite young, she was heading out to the West Coast with the Keith circuit, vaudeville circuit, and on that train was a 14-year-old Georgie Jessel, who was very much smitten with her beauty and her talent. He wanted her to join him in a vaudeville as a team, but she was heading out west, and she very kindly refused his request. She went on to write lots and lots of music, almost 50 pieces published. She was writing music and having it published by and major publishing houses until almost the day that she died. She lies buried along with her sister, Josephine, and the other sister, Alma. The three of them are very musical, all graduated from Newmanstown Grammar School. As a matter of fact, Josephine, the soprano in that Trick Sister duet, was a student of my grandfather's quite a while back. They all lie buried in Elias Church Cemetery in Newmanstown. When I go to visit my sister-in-law, I walk back and say hello to them from time to time. There on the upper right-hand side, we see a very interesting picture that was made available to us, and it's of the bottling department of Reading Beer, the Reading Brewery up there on South 9th near Fairview. And down below, we'll see that a bit closer. That's John A. Heaster's canal boat. And Rosa, you'll be seeing a close-up of that. Interesting story about whatever happened to Rosa, and the answer is Rosa is still around, and so is her sister boat, Carrie. I visited them just 2 days ago for a picture. They were disassembled and used to build a house on Park Road, 117, 119 Park Road, over there right off Route 10 in the 18th Ward.
And the whistles for those boats are still around as well. They
that's
were
right.
Privately owned, and we displayed those a couple of years ago.
Yes.
Members' treasures?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have a pair of sawhorses out in the garage, probably under 6 inches of water, made from the finishing wood of the Rosa.
Huh.
The walnut, they're beautiful.
Sawhorses?
Yeah. See, Howard had them made as a souvenir. He used to use them for a Christmas platform.
Oh.
And I haven't sawed with them, but that's essentially what. Well, anyhow.
They're seahorses now.
Yes, the seahorses is right. Maybe have the next view, please. Okay. Well, we're at the American House Hotel in Newmanstown, one of the great old hotels of Berks County. It sits on the main street. In the west end of town. It was built in 1870, 1871. It had a general store on the left-hand side and, of course, the post office. It had a gentleman's bar on the right-hand side, 10 bedrooms on the second floor, and the top floor was a large ballroom meeting hall. They used to have secret society meetings up there on the top floor, and they used to have all sorts of public entertainments up there. When Don Harmon owned it. He bought it about 1989. He was down the street from us at the Historical Society. He had that the bell tower.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Remember that?
I believe so, yeah.
It was like a beauty salon. Well, anyhow, he bought that about 1989, and he had some dinners up there that I attended, and he had the biggest kerosene chandelier that I have ever seen in my life. It had a shade on it about 4 feet in diameter. It was unbelievable.
How many? There are a lot of hotels in Berks County that was called the American House.
Yeah, a lot of American House. Well, they were named after that big hotel, that famous hotel in Washington, D.C.
Oh, really?
That's where the American House came from.
Oh, okay, because you have one in Hamburg. You have one on, isn't it 4th and Penn? 4th and Penn, and then you have, well, this one.
Well, and there was one down near Montello. There was an American House, but they changed the name recently, to the Columbia House, but that was an American. Anyhow, very, very attractive building. Now the trees are gone, and I don't know if you can see it, but on the right-hand side under the portico, there was a town pump. The next view, please. And there is the same hotel today. Having a slight soffit problem up there in the upper left-hand side that does need attention. Very good, Joshua. And in the front, there are two waifs that I saw sort of standing around and had them get into the picture. But anyhow, that is what the building looks like today. The American House Hotel, 1870, Main Street of Newmanstown. Really one of the great hotels. The next. There is Rosa. Rosa is going... managed how they got under that bridge. You know, a lot of those boats had an arrangement.
Chimney.
Yeah, they had a hinged chimney. There was one time up in Stroudsburg where they forgot to unhinge.
Yeah.
Yes, and it was
One time.
Yes, one time. It was a little on the nasty side, but that's Rosa. That was one of two excursion boats, Carrie and Rosa, owned by John Heaster, John A. Heaster. The last ran in 1917. And in 1922, they were damaged incredibly severely with a flood that we had and a windstorm, so that they were in bad shape when they were dismantled.
It looks like there's a banner right here, but it's a shame you can't read it.
They're having a good time.
Yeah. Howard Heaster used to say that when they had holiday excursions, those boats were so overcrowded that
They didn't have to swim far.
that's part of it. But anyhow, that was taken in the Gibraltar area. There's a guy out there with a mandolin.
Yeah.
They used to take trips down to Valley Forge, and they'd have Japanese lanterns strung across the top and a mandolin, orchestra on the top. That must have been a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
But in later years, they only went to like Old Maid's Woods, which would be right near the Alpenhof. And a few other landings close by, so they really didn't venture more than about 5 or 8 miles from Heaster's Landing. That boat, along with Carrie, used to be kept at Heaster's Dock at the foot of South 6th Street at Jackson's Lock. Anyhow, so what happened to Rosa? The next picture. That's what happened to Rosa. It was disassembled after it was so badly damaged in the flood of 1922. They used the components to build that house. I remember going over there to see Howard Heaster, who was the grandson of John A. Heaster, who ran those boats. And up in the attic, you can see very clearly components of the Carrie and the Rosa. Yes, I was up there in his attic. You would not believe how much was in that house during the days that Howard lived there. Unbelievable. Yeah, 117, 119 Park Avenue, 18th Ward, right off Route 10.
Did Heaster have it as a single dwelling at that time? Or
No. He was on the left-hand side, and his uncle was on the right-hand side. Both of them rode the canal boats. He, as a little kid, he used to say when he was really tiny, his dad used to time fast, so that if he fell overboard, he'd just fish him right up with a rope. Of course, those days, well, he went through those locks. Those locks were pretty deep. Next, please. This is Arts Schoolhouse, Vinemont Road and Mones Hill. That is the building as it appeared a long time ago. That was one of the Burley brothers' photographs. The Burley brothers were very much interested in photography, did a great deal of photography, and not too bad a quality either. They were from Moulton. And fortunately, most of their negatives have survived. Not all, but most have. Doug Reinert, our good friend, who does a great deal for the Historical Society, went out with his camera phone and took that inset picture that you see. It's a little on the dark side, but the building still stands. It was converted for use as a residence, and I believe the work is still ongoing. Arts School. It closed, let me see, when did Arts close? I think around, it closed in the 20s, and they consolidated. And after that, it just stood out idle for a while until it was converted into a residence. And the place to which they had sent the students here, very shortly thereafter, burned to the ground. Next. Merkel's School. Didn't last that long. Here is the Cedar Top Schoolhouse. It was essentially a two-room, we used to have 2 teachers there generally, and built in 1910. That's a very handsome building. It still is, I think. Qumru Township built very substantial buildings, and it's rather amusing to contemplate that the two most expensive they lost very shortly after they built them, because when they took that one school near Mayor's Bakery, that very large brownstone building, into the Reading school system, and the 18th Ward was annexed to Reading, they lost that building. The West Reading School, there at Fifth Avenue, that was built by Qumru, and they lost that. That became part of West Reading Borough, I guess, around 1907. So they had just built that and lost it a year or two later. But anyhow, the building closed around that lasted fairly long, about 1953. And in 57, the Cedar Top Volunteer Fire Company #1 purchased it. And there you see that, and there's two insets. And that's how it looks in the book, actually. Those are very, very good pictures. The left side shows basically in the back the portion that they added for storing of the apparatus. And
This white colored part right here?
yeah, that's it. That was for the apparatus. And on the right-hand side is the front of the building as you see it today. The front of the building faces Church Street as you would go from 625 into Moulton. The front of the building always was facing like Church Street.
Love the outdoor plumbing.
Yes. That's where they kept the basketballs. The next. This is a very interesting picture. That's Moulton, and that is Church Street, the lower picture running there on the right-hand side. That's Samuel K. Mohn, Samuel Kekerais Mohn's home on Church Street in 1872. Now, unless you have extremely keen vision, you probably can't see that there's a physician standing there next to his 4-year-old child wearing a dress. And I wasn't sure whether it was a boy or a girl, but that's a moot point. And on the right-hand side down below, you see the famous Moulton Band playing their Civil War era instruments. Doug Reinert, again, went back to the exact same site there on the upper left-hand side, that inset, and he took the picture from, again, the very same site. Now, that's Church Street near Cemetery Lane. You don't see the house because it was built back from the building line of today, and of course the barn was taken away years ago. Upper right-hand side shows you Samuel K. Mohn. By the way, Samuel K. Mohn was the fellow who started the Moulton Post Office about 1857. Mohn's store was the original name, and then in the 90s they got rid of the apostrophe all over the United States. They wanted no more post offices with like Spohn's store, so-and-so store, a lot of Scholl's store. A lot of the old post offices had apostrophe S. In 94 they said no more apostrophes, took it away, and then when Moulton became a borough, it became the Moulton Post Office. But anyhow, he started the first post office, opened the first general store in Moulton, Samuel K. Mohn, and that is his house there in the upper right-hand side, the way it looks today. Let's take a break and go on to something else.
Okay. Well, I'd like to say a few words about some of the events that are coming up at the Historical Society this weekend. That'll be Saturday, September 10th. And that is the day that we always have our second Saturday programs. But before we get to that, I'd like to talk about the Hendel House picnic that's going to take place on that day. And that is at the Hendel House. It's an annual picnic that we do there. It's going to happen on, again, Saturday, September 10th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And it's the Hendel House, if you don't know, is located at 746 Center Avenue, and that's directly across from Center Park. We have this party, Pat Perfect and the Friends of the Hendel have this for a good time, number one, but then also they use the funds that they raise there to maintain the Hendel House, because it truly is a wonderful piece of vintage Victorian architecture set in probably one of the nicest Victorian 19th century neighborhoods in the United States, and definitely in Pennsylvania and in Reading. But it's a day of good food, great music. Music's provided by Ragtime Willie's band, a bunch of guys that get together. They're playing bluegrass, country, western, folk, any number of tunes, and it really is. It's a lot of fun. The cost of that event is $8 if you purchase your tickets in advance, $10 if you buy them on the day of the picnic. But for that, you're going to have your choice of either chicken or pork barbecue sandwich, coleslaw, a beverage, as well as dessert. So stop by the Hendel House directly after the second Saturday program. You're sure to have a good time.
The food's really good, too. I'm not going to even be there, but I ordered dinners anyway just to pick them up later.
Yeah, I bought my ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have my ticket already. But anyway, so that's the Hendel annual picnic. Now, one of the probably the largest events the Historical Society has during its year is the 4 Centuries in Berks Historic Property Tour. And that takes place on the first Saturday of October every year. This year it's Saturday, October 1st, 2011, and it takes place from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., and it truly is a special event. This year, the Historical Society is proud to have as its signature sponsor M&T Bank, and this is the 6th annual 4 Centuries in Berks Historic Property Tour. Every year we pick a certain geographic region of the county out, and we display and look at the architecture that we have in there, in that region. This year, we're very pleased, and it's our privilege to have as the venue Wyomissing and Environs, the first planned community in the United States, and just a special community. We look at Wyomissing, when most of us think about Wyomissing, we think about the Wyomissing of today, which was the idea of Ferdinand Thun and Gustav Oberlander and their desire to have a planned community where all the employees of Wyomissing Industries could work and live together. And it really is unique. Again, it's one of the oldest, or the oldest planned community in the United States, but it also dates back to, what, 1740s, George?
Yeah, Qumran.
So it's a very, very old community. This year, because Wyomissing is has such a dense number of houses, we have the most houses that we've ever had on the property tour. This year we have a total of 17 properties.
17?
17.
Wow.
We have 12 private homes, 2 churches, as well as, for their historical significance, the Hewitt House as well as the Stone House. And because we always like partnering with other organizations, we have the Reading Public Museum is also going to be part of the tour, and that will be open from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. and anyone who purchases a ticket for the 4 Centuries tour, who has a wristband or a ticket, can get admission into the Reading Public Museum for free. So that's a great, great thing. I'd like to thank John Graydon Smith and the trustees of the Reading Public Museum for allowing us to do that. But 4 Centuries is a great tour. It's a self-directed tour. You can take it at your own pace. You can take it in the order that you want, and you can spend as much time in each of the properties as you want. But with 17 properties, or actually 14, you have to manage your time wisely because you're going to have a full day. But when people ask me to explain the 4 Centuries tour, and I say, well, if you've ever been on a drive through Berks County, and you see a property that you say, boy, I would love to see what the inside of that property looks like, the 4 Centuries tour allows you to do just that. These gracious homeowners open their properties, and with their help and the help of volunteers and docents from the Historical Society as well as many other organizations, you can go through the home and they will point out the points of interest, historical significance, the personages that live there. So it's a great opportunity. This year we anticipate tickets were going on sale Wednesday, September 14th. We're hoping maybe a little bit earlier, but you can purchase the tickets at many sites in and around Berks County. You can also purchase them at the Historical Society, and you can call for ticket locations by calling the Historical Society at 610-375-4375. This year, the tickets will cost $25 for members of the Historical Society, $30 for non-members. And as I mentioned, this is a big tour, and this tour, for those of you who have been on it, you know how special it is, and it would not be possible were it not for the gracious and generosity of the homeowners that open their homes for the tour, but also for the sponsors who contribute to make this tour possible. And I mentioned M&T Bank. They are our signature sponsors, but we also have our patron sponsors, and I would like to take just a minute to recognize them for allowing Berks County this opportunity and thank them for supporting Berks County and the Historical Society. Those sponsors are Associated Construction, Brentwood Industries, Carpenter Technology, Comcast, the Highlands of Wyomissing, the HSBC Auxiliary, Masano Architects, Phoebe Burks Village, the Reading Hospital and Medical Center, Vist Insurance, Weidenhammer, William G. Cuck and Associates, Easton Coach, Land Display, the Reading Eagle Press, and Reese Advertising. They are very special to the Historical Society for helping us put on this tour, and we thank them a lot. Now, as a prequel to the 4 Centuries in Berks Historic Property Tour, our second Saturday program for September, again on Saturday, September 10th, refreshments at 9:30, program at 10, we are going to be welcoming Fred Levering, president of the Wyomissing Borough Council and a member of that council since 1993. It's a long time, Fred. A great community service. Congratulations. But Fred's going to be doing a program on Wyomissing, telling us about our past and our future. And I'd like to just introduce Fred now and have him tell you a little bit about what the program is going to be like and what it's going to be about.
Well, thank you. We are, the borough is very proud of what we have, and we're pleased to host the tour this year. I can't tell you how much we appreciate the folks that have opened their homes to allow us, the public, to take a look. It's humbling, really, to know that there are people that take such pride in their homes and their communities that they're willing to do that sort of thing for the public. The borough is, we think, special. It's now over 100 years old since we've incorporated as a borough. It was in 1906. And what we want to do on Saturday is talk about where we've been, but also a little bit about where we're going to go. This is a community that takes a lot of pride in its traditions. We're very keen on preserving as much as we can of that past. But in order to remain a viable community and in order to make it a great place to continue to raise families, it's important that we keep things up to speed. We just opened, as you and I were chatting out in the lobby before we came on, about part of the Reading Boulevard was just recently reopened.
Did a great job.
And that's because we rebuilt 2 blocks of the road. We've undertaken, starting with the traffic circle where Wyomissing Boulevards and Reading Boulevards meet, we branched out from there and now are starting to get toward the end. It was a project that's taken quite a while, but in nearly a 100-year-old road, you can only put so many layers of blacktop down before there's no curb left, and then you start over. You have to tear it down to the dirt and start over. You take a look at the curb. Last year we were a little lucky on part of Wyomissing Boulevard where the curb was in pretty darn good shape and we were able to keep a lot of it in place. This year there were parts of that curb you could literally stick a screwdriver through, so we had to tear it out and start over. So it took a little bit longer this time. Next year we hope to complete the boulevard toward the west, and then we have a leg down heading from about Trent Avenue down toward the hospital and then making the left-hand turn down toward the library, and then that would complete the project of rebuilding both boulevards. So while we want to make sure that we keep a sense of where we've been, we got to keep an eye on the future if we're going to make this a place that people want to still continue to buy homes in order to raise their families. So on Saturday, we're going to take a look at some of the past, and taking a page from George, we have a series of photographs of an old site in the borough and then comparing it to the same site today. One of our borough residents, John Schmoyer, did a great job during our centennial in 2006, and on behalf of the borough library, put together a presentation that was displayed at the library. Those photographs then went into a series of picture books, which are still at the library, but what we've now done is to digitize them, put them on onto the computer, so that we'll be able to present them in a kind of a PowerPoint sort of presentation on Saturday, where we'll be able to look at both the old view and the new view, get that comparison of what's happened over time. Now, one of the things that's happened over time is the trees have gotten rather big, and some of those views are a little bit harder to appreciate today because the trees have gotten so big, which is another thing that we're undergoing right now, where we have trees unfortunately have a lifespan, and we worry about We don't want to have any appearance of clear-cutting the boulevard or anything like that. So we've been working very carefully to take them down appropriately and then replace them so that you don't have everything happen at once. But unfortunately, those trees were all planted 85 or so years ago and are nearing the ends of their lives. We have some arborists on the borough staff that take a careful look at things and have developed ways of telling when the tree's in danger and trying to take it down preventatively before it causes damage of coming down in a storm such as we've been experiencing lately. So we're going to take a look through some of the past, and then we want to talk a bit about where we're going. We have reinvented ourselves a couple of times in our old commercial core, and that's a focus for our borough council now, is taking a look at redeveloping things there. At one time, the Wyomissing Industries was really a remarkable place where they literally did everything from start to finish, where there was a foundry that actually made the metal. It was taken over to where the Works restaurant is, to that Works area where they finished the metal, and then at the Textile Machine Works fashioned some very intricate machines, knitting machines, that were then taken across Park Road to the Berkshire Knitting Mills, where they were used to make stockings and so on. So they literally designed and made the machines and then used them for many years. At one time, the largest employer around here, over 3,000 people working there. And as George was saying, the planned community aspect was the idea of that the people that ran the organization as well as the workers all lived in the same community, and many could walk to work. And as you see through the borough today, there's a tremendous mixture of housing. It's not unusual to find literally a mansion along one of the boulevards that has fairly modest homes behind it. Right. That's the way it's always been, and something that we particularly like. So on Saturday, after looking at some of the past, we want to talk about what's next. And unfortunately, when you stop growing, you start dying. So we can't let ourselves do that. The knitting mills, as time went by and jobs were shifted to the southern part of the country and then ultimately overseas, became the famous outlet stores. And the outlet complex was, as they called it, the granddaddy of all the outlet stores. But today, outlet stores are everywhere. You can go into any sizable community and find an outlet complex. So it is still very successful. VF is a good ongoing business, and I expect to be there for a long time, but it's not attracting what it did at one time. At one point, we had over 6 million visitors a year coming into the outlet complex, all sorts of buses and so on from all over the country. Now it's a more regional sort of retail center of attracting people from here in Berks as well as a few surrounding counties, but not as much from outside the area as we once enjoyed. But there's still over 3 million people a year coming in there, and if I were to develop a business plan for something, I'd rather start with 3 million than zero. So I think that there's a future there, but we're going to have to look at doing other things. Our borough council's attitude is that we're built out. We really don't have any land left, and this won't make George happy, but there's been a few instances where somebody's actually purchased a home and tore it down and built another one. Sure. So we've had some renewal in that sense. The outlets were the predecessor to some things we're doing today, where we're seeing more of what's called in development circles a mixed-use sort of thing. And the first example of that is what's called Wyomissing Square, which was built where the former Textile Machine Works were. Okay. The developers, first of all, thought they'd have a possibility of a retail complex there, a so-called lifestyle center. Took it out to the marketplace, but apparently most of the developers that they talked to, the shopping center type developers, all had Development 101 in college or whatever that said you're supposed to be along a major highway with a big parking lot out front. And we didn't have that in that location. So after taking a look at a couple of other concepts, we ended up with a mixed use that has a very nice, well-done Marriott, Courtyard Marriott Hotel, which has been very successful. There was an existing 4-story office building that has been refurbished. There was an existing restaurant called Viva that we now are going to be adding another 50 or 1,000 square feet of retail space to along Hill Avenue. And above that complex are 248 luxury apartments. They were really groundbreaking for the area. They were rather expensive, quite well appointed and so on. There was some question about whether Berks County was ready for that, and I'm pleased to be able to tell you that it's just about full.
Is that right?
It's essentially full. I mean, with 90-some%
That's full.
occupancy, there's always in a project of that size going to be some amount of turnover. So that means it's essentially full, and we've actually had some conversations about perhaps adding some things over there now. So that has been a good first step. There are a couple of other surrounding properties there in the old Wyomissing Industries site that we have our eye on and some developers are looking at. I mean, as the economy will inevitably start to improve, I think we'll have a better chance of doing some exciting things there. But the big piece, of course, will be VF, and there's over 1 million square feet of space under roof over there, sitting on about 49 acres. So it's an enormous property. And quite frankly, one that the Berks County economy couldn't absorb in one bite. So I think it's going to be done in phases over time. We'll see where it goes. As I said, we had a couple of stabs at the Wyomissing Square thing until it solidified, and I imagine something similar will happen over at the other site. Again, I expect VF to be there for a good long time, but they're not interested really in being a developer. So what they want to do is partner with somebody. So I expect that maybe we'll have the retail complex perhaps a bit reconfigured, and then a few floors above them, perhaps office space or some light industrial sort of high-tech kind of stuff, clean things. And then loft condominiums on top.
I was going to ask that question.
Another project that I've long been involved with is the reestablishment of train service, passenger train service between Reading and Philadelphia, and it really originates in Wyomissing, then comes here to downtown Reading, and then on its way toward Philadelphia. I think that would be an enormous boost to a redevelopment effort over there. We've also been working closely with the Borough of West Reading and the City of Reading on the Penn Corridor Initiative, which is the trying to create a kind of a Berks County's Main Street along Penn Avenue and Penn Street as a place to go, sort of our Manayunk kind of area with shops and restaurants and so on. West Reading's done a marvelous job with that,
They really have.
and we certainly encourage that. Wyomissing, we have the VF thing, and now Wyomissing Square, so our end of it is a little bit different. And then downtown here, of course, Mr. Boskov has done a wonderful job with Entertainment Square, with the IMAX Theater and the Goggle Works, and of course the Sovereign Center across the street. Gave me pause as to whether I was going to be here on time, because there's a lot of traffic heading in there. It's a very successful venue, and there's a big show going on tonight that has attracted a lot of people to the area. So we hope to continue to see the Penn Corridor develop. And perhaps eventually we can even establish a train, a streetcar, trolley kind of service along Penn.
That was a great idea, Fred.
Which I'm hopeful about. You know, the whole project needs to mature a bit further before that really becomes viable. But it's, I think, a noble goal that we would like to see happen. And Wyomissing is very anxious to be part of that. So while we're proud of our past and our traditions, we got to keep our eye on the future, because we think we have a lot to offer, but in order to make sure that we don't have property taxes get to the point where they're so expensive that it negatively affects property value and so on, we need to find other ways to bring revenue to the borough and to redevelop the old infrastructure and so on. And we think that these projects of redevelopment, as well as the Penn Corridor and so on, are going to be the key to our next 50 years or so. So we really appreciate the opportunity to tell our story on Saturday, so I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I tell you what, I think that Mr. Toon and Mr. Janssen would be very, very proud of what the initiatives that you're trying to move forward with, because they were visionaries. They truly were. I mean,
they were really, in all honesty, without sounding immodest, I mean, we're really our version of Milton Hershey out in Hershey, or Henry Ford in Dearborn. I mean, these were people that really did things in a special way, but really created not only jobs, but good jobs, and created a sense of community.
And a quality project, quality product.
No doubt about it.
And you look at how many people, I mean, I worked for Berkshire. My dad worked for Berkshire. I'm glad to say that I did work for Berkshire. I started off at the VF Outlet store.
My mom did, yeah.
Yeah, and it was, it's great to have that. I'm very proud to have that. But Wyomissing is very special. And I also want to thank the borough of Wyomissing, and the police departments and the fire departments, because when we approach them with this tour, and this is a big tour, and sometimes there's a little trepidation on the part of when we come in and we start talking to people. There's logistical things that you have to consider, but you guys stepped up to the plate and said, no, we want to do this, and you worked with us, myself and Janice Longlot from the very start, and we appreciate all the support that you have given us on that.
Well, we're very pleased to have you.
And you've done a great job on the streets. I always tell people when you drive around Wyomissing, I said, we've created our own potholes because they keep the streets so nice. There's a lot of times when they do a manhole that when they do a repave, that the manhole will be a little bit, cover will be a little bit lower, but the rest of the street's good, but you hit that. But let me tell you what, I'll take that any day. But we thank you very much, and we look forward to Saturday. And again, Fred's going to be at the Historical Society this coming Saturday, the 10th of October, and the refreshments for the second Saturday program start at 9:30. Fred's program will start at 10, about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour program, question and answers, and it's going to be great. And that's going to be a prequel to the 4 Centuries and Burke's Historic Property Tour, which this year again will witness Wyomissing and environs. So, if you have any questions on the tour, want to buy your tickets, give us a call at 610-375-4375. Where are we going now?
Oh, I was just thinking about the history of Wyomissing when you were talking. Mr. Farr, who had the nursery over there, supposedly either he broke ground for the first house in Wyomissing. He was he was Burgess. He was first Burgess of Wyomissing. He broke ground, I think, for the first house in Wyomissing Borough, and lived there until he died. Everyone thinks about Farr Nurseries, and of course, the nursery business started out in Wyomissing, and he was so looking forward to that. And people drive by, in years going by, the Farr Nurseries, and they thought of him, but he actually never saw the Farr Nurseries where they had been for so long, because he passed away before they ever moved up there. He lived and died in Wyomissing. Is there a home viewer? Home viewer, you're on.
Hello.
Hello.
Mr. Miser.
Speaking.
This is Willie Rippert. And the last time I seen Mr. Levering was about 35 years ago.
Aha.
Well,
Do you have a question for us?
If you go across the Schuylkill Avenue Bridge, on the right-hand side going up the hill, there used to be a long driveway there leading up to a very large building.
Marymount on the Schuylkill, otherwise known as
House of Good Shepherd?
the House of Good Shepherd.
House of Good Shepherd.
It's a Carpenter
think of
apartment.
that.
Remember that big wall that went around that thing, that big high wall? And I used to think as a kid, boy, when those naughty girls get put there, there's no way they're going to break out of there. I mean, that was quite a place. I was in Ernie's barber shop across the street the day that wall went down. They gave it a push, and it fell down like a pile of dominoes.
Yeah.
It was an inch thick.
They used to, my mother, the girls, the residents used to do absolutely
Beautiful
finest
stitchery work.
needlework.
Yeah,
my mother
needlework.
says she used to go up, there was a door with a little box, you would open that, put it in, close that, with your name and address on it, and then you never saw anybody, and they would do your stitching and do the work, and it would be ready for you, and they'd contact you. Yeah.
That was a gorgeous building.
Oh, beautiful. It looked like a castle.
It really did. Built about 1899.
My mother used to say to my sister, you misbehave.
Yeah, you wind up in the House of Good Shepherd.
You bet. Well, it's good to see Fred again. Thank you, George.
Thank you for calling.
Well, I watch you all the time.
Very good. Take care.
Right, see you, Fred.
bye.
Right.
George, it was at the Wyomissing Hotel there on Penn Avenue, and when was that built?
The Wyomissing, the post office was in there initially.
Okay.
Let me think. It was, I'm not really sure. I'm guessing that the post office opened there about 1907. I had a funny story about that. Hotel Wyomissing on the corner. I was given a photograph of this thing, and of course the roof in the front had like a shingle roof initially, over like in the front. It said Hotel Wyomissing, and I thought, well, someone who made that postcard doctored that darn thing, and I wanted to spend a lot of time and bring it, make it the way it was originally. So I spent about an hour and a half, 2 hours getting rid of Hotel Wyomissing. I published the article in the newspaper with the photograph, and the phone rang. Hello? I'm the daughter of the man who painted Hotel Wyomissing on the porch roof. Oh, really?
Put it back.
Yeah, put it back. So we live and learn.
So what was it? Was it built for when they were starting to establish Wyomissing?
Oh yeah, that was a very nice hotel. They had chairs on the front porch, and again it was used. The post office was in there for was it Yorgi or something like that? Might have had that hotel very early on. That was a fine-looking building. You drive by today, people would never have an idea that was a nice suburban hotel one time right along the main drag. And you go by there, you sort of don't even see it anymore.
Yeah,
but it was a fine hotel.
Huh.
It's funny you mentioned Bertrand Farr, George, because it just so happens that a couple of our museum store specials in our museum store for the month of September, in conjunction with the tour, is Dream Gardener, the story of Bertrand Farr, and also Wyomissing, an American Dream, both of them by George Edmonds.
Yeah, this is a good primer for the to get ready for Saturday and also for the tour. And then we have this one on.
That's a beautiful book. The color plates that are in there are very, very special. He was one of the leading experts in the world on the iris and the peony, and he spelled peony altogether differently. But he was world famous for his development of various types of the peony and the iris.
And wasn't there an iris club for a long, long time?
Oh, but there still is.
The building's still there, or is there an Irish club?
No. Oh no! Oh, okay. I thought there was an Irish society.
Okay.
Okay.
No, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Okay. All right.
Well, Joshua, do you want to?
Yeah, I got a couple things.
Go ahead.
First of all, I guess we'll start from the bottom up, literally. In conjunction with the tour, I was able to pull a few Wyomissing-related artifacts. We really don't have that much in the collection. I was surprised about that. First of all, Mr. Levering mentioned the Wyomissing Industries hat. I don't know if you can have a chance to...
Should I have gloves on?
Yeah, you probably should, but we won't tell the museum police. This is a Wyomissing industry hat, and you can obviously see it's got that NRA logo on the side.
So what year is that?
That's got to be, I don't know what year it's
1933.
from. 1933. I was going to say, it's obviously during the time of the recovery there, we do our part. And of course,
neat.
And if you flip it around to the other side, guess what? That NRA logo is not there. So that's a neat little artifact there. Very good shape too. On the floor, we've got a couple of framed items we'll have a look at, along with our tour sign. We've got a beautiful painting there of two Revolutionary era soldiers. Unfortunately, we don't hardly know anything about it, so if anybody knows anything further, please give me a call at work. So obviously, you can see the map of Berks County in the background. The artist is an F.W. Ledford, and it's signed at the bottom right corner, F.W. Ledford. All I know is he's from Wyomissing. I wasn't able to find anything in a quick look at our artist files at work. So if anybody has anything further, please let me know. And this also works out well because over the summer with volunteer and intern help, we've been working on a project to get all of our art collections, especially our painting collections, documented as far as photography goes. I'm working with Doug Reiner. We mentioned his name earlier. I'm working with Doug Reiner to start to get some of that searchable on our website online. So it's quite an ambitious project, but it's something we
do you have a date on that picture?
No, I do not. No, I don't. There's no date on it.
No date.
I don't know
I've never heard of
about it, I'm afraid. Sheriff's V something. I can't even read it here in my piece of paper. It says County of Berks. But very interesting. And also, there's another framed item on the floor we'll have a look at. Sheriff's, there we go. Yeah. If anybody knows anything about it, please let me know. But we have another framed item on the floor as well. It's an All Berks County Junior Choral Concert at the Wyomissing High School. And the photographer is a John
Tenchert.
You got it. About the 1940s, 1950s. Unfortunately, one of our pet peeves is with photographs. We just don't know who any of these people are. So it's a bit of a challenge. Unfortunately, it's on a slant there because we had to put that on the floor there. But I assure you the original photograph is quite level. Just one of the many, many photographs we have in the Historical Society collection that we would really love to identify who these people are for posterity. Does that look about the right time period, 40s, 50s, George, or what do you think?
Maybe a little bit before. There have to be some of those folks around yet. Hopefully, someone watching the program might recognize somebody or might be on that picture and give us a call. Well, that could be the 40s.
Then we'll tell you about a couple of events coming up before we
How about the last, do that last photograph.
Oh, sure.
That last one.
Oh, yeah, the last one. I'm sorry. Thank you, Simon. This is especially tour-related here. You recognize that, George?
Yeah, that's along the Wyomissing, along Museum Road. Let me think. That mill had two names.
Ruth.
Ruth. That was Reith's Mill and Reith's Bridge, and later became known as Ruth's Bridge and Ruth's Mill. Yeah, that was along the Wyomissing. That was on the other side, on the west side of the Wyomissing.
That was on the west. That was taken on the west side.
Yeah,
okay.
Museum Road would be right here in the foreground, and you cross that bridge. That bridge is still there, but it's a more modern bridge.
Museum Road, right?
Yeah,
okay.
and I think it doesn't even say Ruth's Bridge. Bridge on that.
Yep.
Yes,
Yeah, that's Ruth's Mill or Reith's Mill.
It's hard to believe that was all there. There's no trace of a lot of those.
No trace of that.
Part of the mill race is still there.
Yeah, the mill race.
We refurbished it into a trail, actually.
Yeah.
Oh.
It had been overgrown, and we opened it up.
It's beautiful, but and no trees.
Right.
When you drive along Museum Road, if you look down off the side of the road, you can still see that Ruth's Bridge. It's sort of below the grade level.
And of course, that's a colored photograph. A little too early for colored photography there.
I wonder when that would have. It doesn't say when that was taken.
No date.
I did a story on that one time. That's somewhere. I had that in one of the passing scene books.
In this one?
Yeah, that's in. That's in there.
So about a couple of events coming up very quickly. We can get a few more pictures in here. We're pleased to announce we're going to debut a new program this fall, this September. It's called our Third Saturday Matinee Series. On the third Saturday of every month, we're going to be showing a movie from our historical collections, either a local scene of Reading or something connected with Reading, like the Jack Luden movies, which Doug has been transferring over to DVD for us. Our inaugural...
We already had them on DVD.
Yes, but I think he's been doing some more, too. Yep.
Oh, really?
Yep. Our inaugural show will be 1974 Portrait of a City. Features a lot of vignettes of this city. It's a really good snapshot of Reading and Berks County from about 37 years ago. But the way it's going to work is we're going to show the movie at 1 o'clock on Saturday at our main building at 940 Center Avenue, the Connor Auditorium. And we'll be having free popcorn and free soda, and it's included with the price of admission for non-members and free for members. So we're going to show 1974 in September. We'll have another show on October 15th and also December 17th. Stay tuned for the program here, news bits, and our website for additional titles. And also, this is a BCTV exclusive, breaking news on BCTV. We're going to be announcing a upcoming Berks County art exhibit. The first phase, which is going to start in early 2012. It's going to be focusing on key periods of Berks County's artistic legacy, and we need your help. We're looking for any private collections of art, but there's a couple caveats. It needs to be practiced in Berks County before 1970, and they must be a deceased artist. Due to the size constraints of the building, we're going to be using the Palmer Gallery, going to be using the Miser Gallery and the Cotter Auditorium, but due to size constraints, we really must restrict it to those limitations. Please give me a call or send me an email. Any information, if you're concerned about privacy, any information would be kept in strict confidence, and any pieces would be loaned, would be covered by our insurance policy. Right now, we're just making a list to see what's out there, to see what's available.
Simon, would you like to say something about Volume 19?
Oh, absolutely.
Very good.
As I always say, once you pass Labor Day, you're getting close to November, and that is the release of Passing Scene. Passing Scene Volume 19, George's latest, is coming out. We should have it in the Historical Society by mid-November. We're doing things a little bit differently this year in that we are pre-selling the book, and as soon as we get them in, you can come by and pick them up. Naturally, we're going to have the autograph signings like we always have. They're going to happen on the 5th or the 3rd and the 10th of December. The 3rd, it's going to be from, that's second Saturday.
The first Saturday.
First Saturday. That's going to be from 9 a.m. Till noon, take a break for lunch, then come back from 1 to 3. And then the next week, we're going to have, George is going to deliver the program, and that's going to be on the production and the compilation of Passing Scene 19, and we'll have that program, and then following that program, you'll have the autograph signing. So it'll allow you to come by, pick up your book prior to those, review them, and ask George questions that you might have come the day of the program. It's going to be a great book like it always is. It's hardbound, heavy stock, 100-pound encyclopedic paper, high gloss, more photographs than you've ever had in a Passing Scene volume, right, George? Mm-hmm. I think something like 4,500 index entries. So it really is a great publication. It's a very large fundraiser for the Historical Society, but most importantly, it preserves Berks County's historical legacy, and so that's very important.
It'll be one printing, no reprints.
No reprints.
So, if you want a copy, you better get one.
You better get one fast.
Now.
Price is going to be $49, that tax included. If you'd like it mailed to you, it's going to be $57. So just call the Historical Society at 610-375-4375 and reserve your copy now. You're going to have to have it.
Prepayment is required with reservation, though.
A prepayment
you
is
can take
required.
cash, check, or credit card.
Okay.
Visa or MasterCard.
That sounds good.
George, I know everybody's going to ask, what's the color of the cover?
Something like rose.
Ooh.
Oh.
All right.
Of course, there are many different color roses, but
We're also going to be in the Seniors Expo on.
yeah, that's right.
The October
Yeah.
25th.
Historical Society is going to take part in the Seniors Expo on October 25th at the Body Zone rather, and George is going to be there. You're going to be
With lots of photographs.
with lots of photographs, so that'll be a good time.
9 to 3.
Yeah, 9 to 3.
Is that it? How we do? Oh, okay. Tell your friends about our program, which is on live the first Wednesday of each month at 7. It repeats Friday at 10, Saturday at 6, and Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Remember, it can also be seen anywhere on the face of the earth on the Historical Society's website. Thanks to our program associates today, Joshua Blay, Simon Burlett, and Fred Levering. We're pleased to have everybody together tonight. I'm George M. Miser IX, your host and 52-year member of the Society. We look forward to having you join us again on the first Wednesday in October. Thanks for watching.